Grand Rising, my people. Grand Rising, my people. Let's come on in. Grand Rising, my people. Grand Rising, my people. Again, just like I try to come on here every morning, or the mornings that I do my videos, I like to start off with my favorite header, y'all. The video may not be too long. I hope it don't be too long. Now, we are in the month of October. And for some, this right here is when some of the holidays may start. Because from October throughout the rest of the year, there's some type of holiday every month. You know what I'm saying? But since losing Junior, like the holidays really don't look the same anymore. They don't look the same at all. They're just another day. Now, for a person like myself, I already had this thing in me about the holidays. Like when the holidays came around, you know, as I got a little older, you know, the holidays really started to feel different. Matter of fact, you know, to be honest with you, the holidays started to feel different when you was a kid and you wasn't getting them gifts no more, you know, up under them trees. You wasn't getting as many as you was. You started turning 14, 15 years old, boy, them gifts trimmed down, didn't they? So yeah, but I'm not talking about that kind of change in holidays. I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about the spirit of that time of year when that spirit, when that time of year come around, it's a spirit that hits you, and it's typically it's a good feeling. You know what I'm saying? So you would kick it off with a little fun, right? You start off with Halloween. Now, last year, around this time last year, I spoke with Junior, and I told Junior that what Halloween was really about. And I let him know. I just had to be honest with him because they were a little upset that I wouldn't allow the house to be decorated because I don't, you know, want my house decorated with. I know the meaning behind Halloween, and I didn't want my house decorated with such because I don't support that. Do you get what I'm saying? Because I know the meaning behind it. However, for the kids, it's just fun. So Junior asked me, why couldn't they decorate the house for Halloween? This was last year. Okay. He asked me why they couldn't decorate the house for Halloween. And I had to explain to him what Halloween was. Halloween is not a good holiday. For y'all just get candy and goods and stuff like that, but it's really an evil holiday. You know what I'm saying? If you want to call it a holiday, it's really an evil holiday. I had to explain that to him. I didn't keep Junior 2 weeks after that. 2 weeks after that, Junior was gone. After I explained to him what Halloween was, he was gone. You know? And so, this would be the first Halloween that just won't have him around, you know, and it'd be different because he was one of the pioneers in going to grab all the candy and everything, you know what I'm saying? So look, I'm saying this right here because the holidays are about to approach again. So it don't get no better after Halloween because the following month you got November, which is Thanksgiving, okay? Junior, around about 2 weeks after, it was about a week and a half after Halloween, and then about 2 weeks, or maybe 2.5, 3 weeks before Thanksgiving. See, he passed in between there. And so for me, seeing as that Thanksgiving was in that same month, a couple weeks away, that was not feeling the same for me. I didn't care nothing about no Thanksgiving. I ain't care nothing about no turkey. I ain't care nothing about none of that stuff. See, I've been not caring about it. I've been not caring to even celebrate it because I knew what it was behind that. You know what I'm saying? So I was already in the practice of not, participating in the celebration of that type of stuff anymore because it's all pagan. It's all pagan. And it's just another day. You know what I'm saying? But to stamp and seal that right there, I lost Junior. And when I lost Junior, that really took me out of the spirit of that kind of stuff. I didn't have a spirit for those kind of holidays anymore. But I was kind of like forced to kind of like stay in it a little bit because why? I still had his little sister that don't really quite understand it to that degree like that right there. So it was like I was walking a tightrope. You know what I'm saying? I was walking a tightrope because I had to. I didn't want to say there was nothing celebratory, last year, that first year I lost my son. We didn't put up no Christmas tree at the house. We ain't do none of that stuff. We decided to go out of town. That's what we did. We took a road trip. That's what we did. And even in that road trip, it was a lot of tears in that road trip because Junior wasn't with us. And then, I didn't want to take that kind of energy to somebody else's house either, though. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that right there, it was tight because of the energy that you had with you, and you really didn't feel like really even being around nobody for real. None of that stuff meant anything. You know what I'm saying? And that's what you figure out. You know what I'm saying? When you at your sons or your daughters or your child's service and you looking down and you figure out nothing else means nothing, that goes for everything. Nothing else means nothing. All these holidays, all this extra drama, the people that's just only good for fun. You know what I'm saying? Like all the extra curriculum stuff. You know what I mean? All the miscellaneous stuff go right out the window. Anything miscellaneous go right out the window. You're going to be sitting down thinking for a very long time. You know what I'm saying? So for that first holiday, for that first strip of holidays, it's going to be very difficult. I'm going to let you know, especially if this right here your first time running through that right there. If that's your first time running through it, that first set of holidays, that's going to touch on you, baby. That's going to touch on you. I'm telling you. And hopefully you could remain as strong as you can, but that's going to touch you. Well, at least it touched, it did a number on me. It did a number on me, baby. Them first stream of holidays, because it happened right before the holidays. You know what I'm saying? And so now you got some people out here like you got some people that after this happened around the holiday time, they just lost they spirit for the holidays, period. You know what I'm saying? It kind of like reset your spirit. Your spirit becomes very sensitive. And when I say sensitive, I'm not talking about in a way that you got to soft talk to the person. I'm talking about sensitive in a way to where you will pick up on the slightest thing. You could pick up on the very lightest anything almost. You know what I'm saying? It's like, because you focus on something, you thinking. A lot of times you thinking about your child, but you really thinking hard, and them thoughts gonna carry you a little bit of everywhere. It's gonna carry you a little bit of everywhere. It's something that happens to your spirit when stuff like this right here happens. That's why you might see a change in people that done went through this right here, and they might not change back. And some people, it could be for the good. Some people, it could be for the worse. Some people have turned to drugs. Some people have turned to alcohol. Some people done turned to the church. Hey, some people have turned spiritual. You know what I'm saying? And some people have actually turned and looked at the inner side of themselves and seen what work need to be done. And when you do that right there, you will start to see a whole lot of what you wasn't seeing at first. You're going to do some work on yourself. You're going to do some spirit work on yourself. And you're going to see what you've been missing out for a very long time. You're going to see the stuff that you was not paying attention to. You're going to see a whole lot of things when you start to pay attention to yourself, and it's going to force you to, because guess what? You're not worried about Thanksgiving. You don't care about Thanksgiving. You don't care about Christmas. You don't care about New Year's. Them are just another day. You don't care about none of that stuff right there, because it won't be the same without that person. It's not going to be the same without that person, and you know it. And your energy is not even going to be there. It don't matter how many people around that's smiling and hugging and all this other stuff. Dinner at that table would never be the same at Thanksgiving. Dinner, opening up gifts around Christmas time, that would never be the same. Just right now, looking past at my daughter's birthday, it wasn't the same without her brother being there. It wasn't the same. That was her first birthday without him, but it wasn't the same, and everybody in that line had a chance to go through that. They first birthday without their brother, they first birthday without their grandchild, without their nephew, without our son. And it be tight. I'm be trying to tell y'all, man, that stuff be tight. So now, if you seasoned up for the first set of holidays, hopefully, because this right here be my second set of holidays. It'll be the first year he'll be gone, but it'll be my second set of holidays. So I can't tell you how I would, feel around the holidays until the holidays get here. But I feel like I have done enough work to be able to sustain through the holiday. I believe I've done enough work, because I understand things a little differently now. You know what I'm saying? I've been open to a lot of things. And I'm going to tell you something else. To be honest with you, in the first couple of months, like when this stuff first happened, it was like I was really sitting down. I was sitting down, man. Listen, I really went into search mode. Something happened up here. You couldn't get nothing through for the first, for the first few weeks at least. I'm gonna say at least the first few weeks, for about maybe the first 6-7 weeks, something like that. I was in it, and then, something that I had to do to get up out of it. You know what I'm saying? So I had to look inside myself, and I knew it, but I just couldn't find it. You know what I mean? So to try to ease up some of what I was feeling, I started looking on the internet. You know what I'm saying? I started looking at certain things, and this, people had asked me before, if I was interested in, or do I believe in psychic mediums, and was I open to it? Not me. I'm not no religious guy. I don't do the church. I don't do none of the religious stuff. I do believe there is a higher power, though. I do believe there's a higher power. Just based on the fact that it's things that's down here that man themselves can't account for. But that's a different story. But I do believe there's a higher power. It was just the way that it was taught to me. It made it really hard to believe that version of it. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I was open to anything. So what I did was I started looking at videos. Now, one of the first videos that I started watching was a video. I forgot his name. Man, I forgot his name. But the name of the show is called Seatbelt Psychic. If you trying to get your way up out of this right here, you know what I'm saying? If you don't believe in psychics, if you don't believe in mediums, if you don't believe in that kind of stuff like that right there, you know what I'm saying? Then this might not be for you. And you don't have to believe in it. I say give it a shot. That's what worked for me. You know what I'm saying? To help me find out certain things. You know why? Because when I was talking to those people, or when I was listening to those people, they were able to touch me. They were talking about me. They didn't walk around and they didn't Bible thump. You know what I'm saying? To get some of the answers that I was looking for, that I can understand. That's why I tell y'all, when y'all going through this right here, pay attention. Pay attention to what's going on around you, because at some point in time, your spirit is going to talk to you, and it's going to come back to you. You're going to remember it. Whatever happened, you're going to remember it. You know what I mean? And that right there is what I was talking about. When I'm talking about talking to your spirit, I'm not talking about religion. I'm not talking about the religious stuff. And I know I might get a lot of kickback. I might get a little kickback from that, because, people say, hey, you shouldn't talk to those people. Those people are the devil. Those people are the devil. And I'm sitting up there saying, well, how can you tell me that somebody that I never talked to is the devil, and the people that I do talk to on the regular, I can see all type of devilish ways in them. Nobody tell me not to talk to them. I see devilish ways going on throughout the church, throughout all these other religious organizations. People that practice devilish ways and still participate in these religious practices. I see it then. Nobody never tell me not to talk to them. So why would it hurt? Well, at this point, I was open, because you got to think. At that point for me, I was even open to going to join my son. At that point, I was when I lost my son, man, I ain't playing. I was open to going to join him. You see what I'm saying? So if I was open all the way to that degree, what would it hurt to hear this and see what they got to say? Man, when I started listening to other people's story before I started to listen, or before I started, talking to a psychic medium, when I listened to other people's stories so I could just get a feel of what was going on, I was like, wow, I was blown away. And to be honest with you, when I was listening to that, it kind of like lifted a hunch off of you. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like a hunch that you could be like, oh man, it kind of like grab your attention. You know what I'm saying? If you was looking for some type of answer, some type of way out, some type of help or something, it'll give you an idea. You know what I'm saying? It make you, it'll grab you, and it really make it interesting. It get very interesting. You know what I mean? And it doesn't make it a bad place. And when I did that for myself, I seen why people will say, don't talk to psychic mediums. I understand why they tell you that. I tell you why they tell you don't talk to psychic mediums. The reason why you don't talk to psychic mediums is because they're going to tell you too much about yourself that is already embedded in you. And when they tell you this stuff, it's going to unlock some stuff in you. And then the rest of the system cannot control you anymore. You won't be able to be controlled by these religious organizations. Some of these organizations is not going to be able to control you, because what is already in you will be re-enlightened in you. Now, when these people talk to you, they're going to talk to you straight. They're going to talk to your spirit. They're going to talk to you and whoever you lost. If you want to talk to these people head on, whoever it was that you lost, they're going to connect with those people's spirit. And when they tell you this stuff, it's going to reconcile with you, because they're going to tell you stuff that only you know. Only you know. Between you and that lost loved one, they're going to tell you stuff about that. They are not going to come and Bible thump you talking about no Matthew and Isaiah and Job and Deuteronomy and all that other stuff. They're not going to come to you like that. They're going to come and give you something to where you want to know what's going on. You want to know, is your child okay? What happened? Who they with? You want to know all this type of stuff when you lose your child. You know what I'm saying? Is they okay? Like, cause for me, it felt like my child was by themselves. And it's like my child, I've never been separated that long from my child. Especially instantaneously, just like that. Cause I really believe that before that van stopped rolling, my son was out of here. My son was out of here instantly amongst impact. And from that point forward, it was like, you got to get used to this now. Everything changed. Everything changed. In a blink of an eye, like you literally seen before your eyes the world changed. Like everything, like literally, like I don't care if everything still remained the same. The world just changed before your eyes. Everything changed. And when you heard that news, you felt your spirit leave your body. You ain't feel nothing else after that. You felt your spirit leave your body, and whatever spirit that left your body, that could have been the beginning of the transfer of the new you. That's what that could have been. It could have been the beginning. It could have been the end of the old you and the beginning of the transfer of the new you. When you got that news and you felt your spirit leave your body, don't tell me you ain't feel your spirit leave your body when they gave you that news. Don't tell me that, baby. Don't tell me that you ain't see the world change and your spirit left your body at that point. Man, please. My heart ain't never took that long to beat. My heart ain't never took that long to beat. Shoot, when you got that news. That's right. When you got that news, from that point forward, whatever's behind that didn't mean nothing. It didn't mean nothing. You wasn't interested in nothing else. That was your focus right there. That was your focus right there. And you know something? When you in that little mind thing where you just, your body's here, but your mind is on the other side of town type of deal, it's very important that it's people that you trust that's around you to make sure that they block the stuff that you can't see, the stuff that you can't, that you are oblivious to due to the circumstances. Okay. Because those people are going to be around. Okay. And then when you start to do the spiritual work on yourself, you're going to start to see that, wait a minute, some of these people ain't people. They are really demons. This is what I'm talking about, doing the work. See, when you talk to that psychic medium or listen to that psychic medium, that's when you're going to start to really see. You're going to start to really see. It's going to really open up your inner eyes. You see what I'm saying? Because see, again, and this is no shot to no religious organization. It's just that they wasn't doing it for me. They wasn't doing it for me. The stuff, I've been hearing it my whole life, and I couldn't understand it before, any of this stuff right here happened. So let alone afterwards, that was something I just didn't even want to hear at the time. You know what I'm saying? It was a lot. Like I said, I had spoke at my son's funeral. And after all that right there, somebody came right behind me and started talking about this Jesus and Lord and they need you and all this other stuff like that. And it caused me. I got up and walked out. Like I said, I got up and walked out, man. You know what I'm saying? That was the first time I got up and walked out. The second time I got up and walked out was before they start talking about coming up to the coffin and all that other stuff. I wasn't going in there through that part either. I wasn't about to do that. So, but, and it was like I was lost. Spiritually, I was lost, man. I ain't gonna lie. And I'm still trying to really, I've been working on that right there part for the past 11 months myself. 11 months. And it ain't been the prettiest. I'm gonna tell y'all that too. It ain't been the prettiest. It's a road. You got a road ahead of you. You got a road ahead of you. You ain't gonna have time to be losing no energy. Everything gotta count. And you gonna make sure that everything count. It's gonna be up to you to make sure that everything count. And like I said, the ones that you got over here on this side right here around that you can trust, if you can trust them, hey, but it's not going to be too many of them though. You're going to have less than a handful that you can solidly trust. It's going to be about a handful or less. That's not to say that the other people don't care, but you're going to have about a handful or less. You know what I'm saying? That circle going to get smaller and smaller and smaller. You understand? And that's going to help out too. And then the more spiritual you become, you know, coming back to the inner you, because like I said before, you looking for the answers on the outside of you, you probably won't get them. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying this, not all, but you probably won't get those answers on the outside. I got more answers from myself by going on the inside. And talking to the psychic medium helped me do that. You know what I'm saying? Recognize, because it was just certain stuff that was saying that it was like, it was resonating with me like, yeah, it wasn't nothing evil, y'all. It wasn't nothing evil. There was nothing evil about it at all. I was listening to this stuff like, yeah, I remember that. I remember this. I'm telling you, like, so we used to hear stuff around the house. This right here was before I said anything, before I knew anything, before I looked at anybody's video, anything. What happened was a picture fell down in the house. We was all in the living room. The picture fell down in the house, right? And when we looked, now this picture, mind you, this picture was up against the wall. There was no wind in there. We didn't have no fan on. We didn't have none of that stuff on, okay? The picture fell off the wall and fell onto Junior's mom. I goes over there, picked the picture up, and we was all in awe, like how did that just happen? We like, oh shoot, Junior, you know, we all playing around like, oh shoot, Junior, I know you just did that, like, you know, we was playing, you know, but in all actuality, it was him. You see what I'm saying? See, in the beginning, especially if you done lost a child, that child was around us for a long time, and we was hearing it. And when I tell you we was hearing it, it was stuff that was like at the front door that was knocking over and stuff like that. You can't be as scared of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? It was dishes that was falling down in the kitchen. We heard stuff rattling in the kitchen. You know, like you could hear it. You could hear the little footsteps through the house at times. You know what I'm saying? We was listening to all that. We was listening to it all. Everybody was listening to it. Man, them kids was so doggone scared. All 5 of them was sleeping in the living room. Every last one of them was sleeping in the living room, from the oldest to the youngest was sleeping in the living room. Them jokers was so scared. You know, but for me, it was like, it was intriguing to me. I was glad. I was listening to this stuff like, yeah, okay, well, and another thing too, like, you're going to start seeing like loose change and stuff like that around. You know, I'm talking about for the younger kids, you know, for the ones that was younger. Like, it's going to be stuff that they're going to do. Sometimes you're going to see them out your peripheral. You're going might feel little footsteps walk across the bed or anything that y'all used to do. You know what I'm saying? That's just not you going crazy. Trust me, it's just not you going crazy. I thought it was just me. Man, I talked to that psychic medium and stuff like that. And she had never talked to me ever. Actually, let me take that back. Let me rewind. I talked to somebody that talked to a psychic medium, and they called me and they said, hey, the other day ago, did something recently just fall off a table or fall off of something? And, you know, did something fall on somebody, like, to the point like it was noticeable? Something fell down and somebody picked it up and this, that, and the other. And I'm thinking, like, did something fall off the table? See, I wasn't thinking about it because I'm still thinking about my son at this point. I wasn't nowhere near that stuff that I'm telling y'all now. I wasn't even nowhere near it. And so I'm sitting down and I'm thinking and a light bulb eventually went off. I'm like, yeah, a picture or something like that. And I picked it up and she was like, oh my God. And then they started asking me other stuff, and I'm like, yeah. And so this right here is what got me on that path right there, to where I was like, you know what? Let me see for myself. You know what I'm saying? I was always a see for myself type of person. And that's the reason why a lot of this stuff right here probably hit me like it does, because I'm a see for myself type of person. So, you know, I go see for myself. And when I go see for myself, man, some of this stuff, man, that they was telling me, you know, it took a big weight off. Like I said, you still gonna have your moments. Don't get it twisted. You gonna have your moments, but if you looking to take a weight off and you want to know what's going on with your loved one on the other side, the ones that just passed over, you got to talk to a psychic medium, and that's gonna teach you to go within yourself. This nothing have nothing to do with no evil. Have nothing to do with no evil. I wouldn't even recommend that right there to nobody to the sound of my voice. I would not recommend nothing evil to you. But I've had people that's not open to that right there, and they stay inside their grief. So if you're open to trying to relieve some of that grief, then I don't think there's lanes that should be, cut off. You shouldn't cut off none of those lanes if it's pertaining to grief relief. You see what I'm saying? Now, in doing this, when you do get on a hold of who you are and your spirit and you get back a little mental wait a minute, that makes sense. Okay, wait a minute, that makes sense. Once you do get back to that point, you're going to realize then it's going to open up a whole nother world. Remember, I told you that world that you was once a part of, that's gone. That's done. You're not going back there. That's done. For the ones that's really affected by, now mind you, this right here don't happen to everybody, because everybody don't pull this right here, take, losing a loved one the same way. Some people can deal with it because they seen it coming. They knew it was coming. And some people can deal with that right there, but some people can't. And them are the ones that I'm talking to, But like I said, when you go down that path, your spirit, you're going to be in a different realm. Not only is it going to pull up the people, the person that you looking for, is going to pull up other people that you wasn't looking for. And these people are going to give you confirmation. Not only that right there, you are going to start to see those people. You're going to start to see the spirit in those people. I'm talking about the everyday person that's walking around at that point. If you want to start to see that, know who you are. Know who you are if you want to start seeing that, because I'm telling you, after that right there, it's going to be times where you're going to be, this is the reason why you ain't going to be in no crowds either. You don't want to be in no crowds because you're going to feel the energy off other people. That's what I mean. That's part of what I mean by your energy going to be real sensitive. It's going to be sensitive. You know what I'm saying? That's probably why I keep you away. You ain't going to want to be around none of that negative stuff. Nothing negative. And then when you look back at the same exact crowd of people that you used to be around, and you see the stuff that they are doing, they're just having fun. And you used to be a part of that right there. You don't find that to be as amusing anymore as it once was. Yeah. But that don't make it wrong, though. I'm just saying that's just going to be you. And for that reason, that might keep you away from some people. You know what I'm saying? Not because you're mad at them. You're not mad at nobody. But, you don't want to come around and stop what they're doing and bring in your energy and these people. Hey, listen. Do what y'all do. You know what I'm saying? But when you start to touch on that spirit realm right there, all this stuff that you knew before, a lot of that stuff gonna go right out the window. And that's why I was saying you ain't gonna see that stuff like that no more. You're gonna be able to look at somebody and you're gonna be like, nah, that person is a demon. That's not no human. You're gonna be able to look at somebody and be like, that person don't have a soul. You're gonna be able to do that. I'm telling you. Just based off of your stuff. Like everything gonna start to work. Everything. For you gonna use your spirit for what you're supposed to use your spirit for. The stuff that you told not to tap into is there for a reason. And if you're told not to tap into it, it's because whoever telling you not to tap into it, they want to control you. They want you to be part of the control system, the controlled system. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying, like I said again, this is not for everybody. It's not for everybody, but I'm gonna let you know what helped out for me. Again, and I'm still looking for some more answers. But for a big chunk, you know what I'm saying? For what they would tell you that you would have gotten from the religious organizations, you're gonna get from them. And this right here is gonna touch you more personally than anything else for me, it touched me more personally than anything else that I've tried. I'm not gonna lie to you. Than anything else I've tried. See, when you know these people lying, it's because your spirit is gonna tell you. But if this stuff is resonating with you and you like, wait a minute. And I mean, they're gonna point out some specifics. If you want to hear some specifics, talk to them. Give it a shot. Try Seatbelt Psychic. Come on YouTube and look up Seatbelt Psychic episodes. Start there if you want to start somewhere. Start there, especially if you new. If you just freshly lost somebody close to you like that. You don't have to be a child, but if you just lost somebody close to you like that, Seatbelt Psychics. If you're not used to this stuff, and you don't believe in psychic mediums and all that other stuff, I challenge you to give it a shot. And I ain't saying call these people. I ain't say that. I said look at it. Just watch it. You know what I'm saying? Give yourself an opportunity to allow yourself a gateway to relieve your grief. You're going to have to. You can't stay where you at. And if you blocking off different avenues and different lanes that could possibly help you with your grief, only thing that told me if I was to do that was that I just wanted to stay grieving. And in the beginning I did. I just wanted to let me get out as much as I could. But I was going on too long. Doing that, and it seemed like that wasn't going to never stop. I didn't think I'd smile again. I didn't think I would laugh. I didn't think none of that. I've had many of those since my son passed in these 11 months. I've had many a smiles. I've had many a laughs. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't been all good, but it ain't been all bad. You know what I'm saying? It definitely ain't been all good, but it ain't been all bad though. It ain't been all bad. You know, it's a work in progress. And like I said, it's not a one size fit all kind of deal. You feel me? It's whatever worked for you. And I'm telling you what worked for me. And I wasn't even a part of that little organization. You know, I haven't talked to one in a very long time. It's just after I found out who I was, I started to practice that. You know, you got to be who you are. You know what I'm saying? You got to be who you are. You got to live that. That got to be a way of life for you. You know what I'm saying? You no longer that person that you once was back then. You know what I'm saying? You took lessons from that person that you was back then, because you definitely not that person today. So, with that, I'm going to go ahead and end this live. Hey, Uncle Roni, YouTube, go over there, share, subscribe, comment, share this video, like this video. You can comment on this video. I like to keep the algorithm going on this stuff right here, so it can really get out to other people, man, and hopefully it can help somebody. That's what the intent is, to tell my journey on my way back. What am I doing for grief relief? You know, and you know, hopefully if somebody could take something out of it and they can help, it can help them, then hey, let them have at it, man. And that's the reason why I do this right here, okay? So, share it, you know what I'm saying? Try to help somebody else, you know, if you can. And, I'm out of here, man. I get with y'all later on. Y'all have a good one.